sue us, Usher Butt. Period. Daddy's home.
She said Usher.
She's like an 8-town stomp. Okay, anyway. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Jones for the Dove. I'm your girl Maya Jones, host and creator. Just so you know, it's allergy season first of all, so my voice is gone. But I also saw another Georgia resident, another Georgia born and raised boy, Usher, yesterday at the Barclays Center. So your girl was screaming and crying. I'm not playing with you, Usher, just like Asia said. And that's on period. Peace up, A-Town now. But bear with us today as we work through it, but excited to have another episode of Jones for the Dove. Let's get into it with the Weekly W. So first of all, Cathy Engelbert to the front. Babe, girl, I have talked multiple times, as well as longtime fans, even new fans, not the ones that we don't like so much, however, about the Angel Reese and the Caitlin Clark rivalry. Angel said it's not a rivalry. Caitlin said it's not a rivalry. It's become this big thing on social media, and the commissioner, Cathy Engelbert, was asked about this on an interview, and sadly, girl, that response was not it.
It seems on some social media channels to have taken a darker turn, a more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation. How do you try and stay ahead of that? Try and tamp it down or act as a league when two of your most visible players are involved, not personally it would seem, but their fan bases are involved in saying some very uncharitable things.
It is a little that Bird Magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another.
It's just pretty sad to see, one, that response from Cathy saying, basically just dismissing the fact that racism and misogyny and things are happening to so many of her players that go against Caitlin Clark, that play just regular basketball against her, but especially Angel Reese. She's the undesirable number one when it comes to these new Caitlin Clark fans. And it's very, very detrimental to, of course, her mental health. She spoke about this on her podcast that she newly released. And as well as she is not allowed to show up and play as her most competitive self like Caitlin's allowed to. Angel's not allowed to cuss. Angel's not allowed to be passionate. Angel's not allowed to show some sportsmanship the way that she was, hey, to Caitlin, who does it all the time, because people are seeing as she's aggressive, she's bullying her, she's not allowed to show as a competitor, yet Caitlin's allowed to do those same things. She's hate on for it. And then other players like Dejanay Carrington, like Diamond DeShields, like Kennedy Carter. I could keep going on of people who have been villainized in the league in the name of Caitlin. And it is so problematic. And it was such a problem that then the commissioner, the face of the league, dismisses it, doesn't stand up for her players. Take a few notes. You have a league full of activists. These are people who were bending the knee with Colin Kaepernick. These are people who are wearing President Obama. They were wearing President Biden, all these different shirts. These are activists as well as players. You can stand up for them for what? And then to add insult to injury, like Angel Reese is a monumental player. Came off and went off in her rookie season. And she's not even allowed to celebrate that without someone calling her any type of word, hard R. All I have to say is, Cathy, it's just very, very, very disappointing of a response. You have a league full of Black women especially that you need to defend. And you didn't. For what? So I'll just leave it there for now. But let's get back to Angel Reese, as it has been announced by her that she has dealt with a season-ending injury where she hurt her wrist. She has a surgery on it, and so therefore her rookie season is over. I just want to give a congratulations to Angel, because to come in from a college season, barely have a break, go right into the WNBA, and then to do what she did in her rookie season is monumental. And I hope that she's able to applaud herself for that, but also that the world is able to applaud her for that, because she was a 2024 All-Star. She set records for double-doubles, literally has the most consecutive double-double games in WNBA history, as well as the most consecutive 20-plus rebounding games in WNBA history. That is no small feat. I know some people are like, that's not that hard. Again, this is the Women's National Basketball Association. The best players in the nation are playing in here. Best players from college that even I couldn't play against. Angel's getting double-doubles against them, against Asia Wilson, against Tina Charles, against Aaliyah Boston, Jonquel Jones. I could keep going. Don't downplay what the fuck she did. She did that. We want to congratulate you on that season, but we respect Angel Reese over here, so you need to make sure to put some respect on her name. But congratulations on a great season. And speaking of injuries, child, we are seeing quite a few come down the pipeline for these players. 1 in 9 players are injured right now in the WNBA. And there's also illnesses happening, like with Jonquel, with Kennedy Carter. We saw Asia Wilson get hurt. We've seen that Nigel Laney Hamilton get hurt. Get well soon to all of these ladies. But one thing I do want to point out is people probably asking, is this normal? Yes. Sadly, these point out some things that we might need to fix, as well as some things that we just might need to think about for the W. These women are playing a 40-game season, but they're playing it so heavily. They're playing it back to back to back. Sometimes these teams are playing 3 or 4 games a week. That's going to take a toll on anybody's body, no matter if you're the best athlete, if you're eating the best protein, low carb meals, if you have the best trainer, all this muscle. Playing a physical game like they do in the WNBA, you're getting bumped trying to score, you're going into the crowd, sometimes you're diving on the ground for a ball. That's going to take a toll on your body, which leads to injury. Also, going through the things that they go through, a lot of these players aren't getting on these charter flights that they should be, so they don't get to rest. They're having to go through the airport to then get to these games, going back to the regular airport all battered up. That's again going to take a toll on the body. And so I think it's important that in the future, as the W is looking at what's the schedule, how are we going to line these up? Maybe first of all, stop playing games at the same time on the same day. Why are 4 games happening at 7 p.m.? Let's start there. The broadcast schedule needs to be fixed. But also, if a team plays once or twice a week spread out, like a Saturday and then a Sunday the next week, that might be helpful for their health. Just some thoughts. But also, you're playing a 40-game season. It doesn't need to happen all in the summer. I think it could bleed over into the collegiate season, especially the pre-games that don't mean anything. That's fine. I think it's time to think about, as these women especially, they're already icons. I'm not going to downplay the women who have been in the game and who have been adding to the game and have been rising those numbers before this new wave has come in. But I think especially now that they're becoming real major celebrities, protecting them, protecting their bodies is going to be important. Take some tips from the NBA. I gotta say, they do quite a good job of protecting their players and making sure their bodies don't take a toll, and I think the W should follow that. So just something to think about, but don't be surprised. We're going to see players continue to get injured, sadly, and you might see players sit out, decide not to join in. So it's not a not normal thing, but it is something that I think now that the WNBA is getting more revenue, getting more broadcast deals, all those things they can actually fix. Especially, child, we about to get into this spooky season. And you know what's spooky? You know what's scary hours? The postseason. I don't think y'all ready, child. Let's get into it. So it's spooky season. Get your mask out, get your costumes, child, get your holy water. It's about to be madness. I might need to pray right now, okay? As of today when we're filming, here are the top 8 teams thus far who are going to make it into the playoffs. The 8th spot, as of today, has not been filled yet. It's between the Atlanta Dream, the Chicago Sky, and the Washington Mystics. I personally think the Dream will take it. However, I think it's like Dream, Sky. It's very close for me. It just depends on when they show up in the matchup, but I have a feeling the Dream might take it. They have some momentum that's going in their way right now that I think could help get that spot. I have a few thoughts on some things on these current standings. The Liberty in the top seed. They're kind of being close with the Lynx, especially, who could take over in the tiebreaker if they were to beat the Liberty. However, I foresee the Liberty keeping that spot. That's no shade to the Lynx. I'll tell you why later. But that's no shade to the Lynx. I just think the top 3 as they are right now with the Liberty, the Lynx, and the Sun, I have a feeling it's going to stay like that until the playoffs. I also think for the 4-5 spot, the Aces, the Storm, Asia Wilson is no longer hurt. I think that makes a difference for keeping the number 4 spot with the Aces. That's no shade to the Storm. I know they have Gabby Williams. They're looking so good as a team. They're using more of the bench. They're using Jordan Horstler. They're using Nika Muehlmore. Come on, girl. We'd love to see Nika on that court. Keep doing that. However, I just think for those who are new to the playoffs, if you've never seen Asia, but also the Aces in the playoffs, spooky season, scary hours. I just don't think it would be fair to count them out. I know they've had a little shaky. Chelsea Gray is back and they still were a little shaky. But again, playoff mode is a different type of mode. I'm not counting out Seattle, but I think those standings will stay the same and we'll see them duke it out in the first round. Those are my predictions thus far. I think it's going to be an exciting time to watch these playoffs. For some things for people to know, the playoffs, basically the top 8 teams will then match up. The number 1 seed will play the number 8 seed in the first round. Then the number 2 seed will play the number 7 seed. Then the number 3 seed will play number 16. And then 4 and 5 will then match up. From there, they'll play. Whoever wins goes to the next round. Those will battle it out. Then we'll go to the finals. And then we'll have a champion. 3 rounds, pretty simple. It's much shorter than the NBA. They have less teams, like relax, sweet, you know this. But it's going to be so exciting to see because if you thought March Madness was crazy, you ain't seen nothing like the WNBA playoffs. Like, y'all weren't there when Maya Moore was making buzzer beater shots on the Indiana Fever. Now, one thing I wish they would bring back, because back in the day, the OG fans know, this used to be the best of 7, just like the NBA plays. That was a very fun time. Exciting things were happening. Like I said, Maya Moore was making them buzzer beaters back then. But it would be really fun that we got more viewers. Why not? People are going to be watching. Did y'all watch the finals last season? Come on. Literally, the Aces versus Liberty should have been the best of 7. So, you know, Cathy, while you're making up for that racism shit, you could bring that back too. You should definitely make your guesses on who's going to be winning, who's going to take home the gold, because child, not actual gold, okay? Not the Olympics, but you know what I mean? The big trophy, the money at the end. And speaking of, your friends here at Jonesing for the Dub decided it would be a fun idea to put together our own bracket similar to like we do for March Madness, just to guess what's gonna happen in this spooky postseason, honey. So we have some fun things to bring you with each of our brackets and who we think is gonna win. Let's get into it. Welcome to our way too early WNBA playoff predictions in spooky season.
Okay. Well, for my bracket, I picked the Liberty for the first round because, frankly, the Liberty have been lights out this season, and I can't see either of the 3 teams who are vying for that 8th seed taking a single game off of them right now. But when it comes to the Aces and the Storm, I think it's going to be a lot closer. The Storm have been very strong with Gabby Williams. Jewel Lloyd has been incredible. Skylar Diggins-Smith has been back on her game. So I think they have a chance of knocking maybe 1 game off the Aces and ending the season in Seattle on the home court. But I think ultimately with Asia Wilson, you can't bet against her, especially not in the first round. Going over to this side, Lynx with Fee have been unstoppable. Without them, it's been a bit closer. Mercury have been able to take a game off them, I believe, without Fee, but with them, there's no chance. Diana, I'm sorry, I love you, but you're not making it happen. And when it comes to the Sun and the Fever, look, I'm from Connecticut. My first WNBA game was the Sun, but the way they've been playing and the way the Fever have been playing, it's just not even close. Sure, the Sun have won all 3 of their games against each other, but not in this version of the Fever. So I think they're going to take it, especially because Mohegan Sun just doesn't have the same environment that any of these other arenas are going to have for the playoffs. It's going to feel like a Caitlin Clark team. That's what it is. When it comes to the semis, though, the Lynx and the Fever, the Lynx have had their number all season. That's going right to the finals for them. And on this side, the Liberty and the Aces, I know it's close, but over 5 games, I think the Liberty have the advantage. And that's kind of how it goes for the finals as well. The Liberty and the Lynx are very close. They're both led by incredible players, but the depth of the Liberty, if they can develop their bench a bit more, is going to be knocked out against the Lynx.
Okay, as you will soon see, I have some different trajectories than my team here, so let's just jump right into it. Andrew said it. Liberty, I know we don't know who this last spot is yet, but no matter if it is the Sky or Dream or Mystics, I don't know about that, but either way, Liberty's going to take that, right? Aces in the Storm. So, I think a lot of my bracket here is riding on Asia. Maya said it. This girl is coming with vengeance. Tunnel fits are now serious business. Ankle is healed. The fire is ignited. That's what I'm going to say. You'll see this as a trend as I go through this. I'm going to ride on Asia, bringing home the aces, and everyone kind of taking that momentum, taking that energy all the way to the top. Spoiler alert. But on this side, Lynx and Mercury. Honestly, I went with Lynx mainly for Nafisa. You know, just got to shout her out. Potential MVP. Again, Asia, we're still going to give her flowers, but I'm just going to shout out Nafisa real quick. Sun in the Fever, I just went on vibes. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to ride with the Sun for this one because once we get to our middle here in the semis, I guess I'll just go through all four, honestly. Liberty Aces, Lynx and Sun. Again, gonna give it to the Lynx because I'm gonna ride with Nafisa. Same here, I'm gonna go with Aces because I'm gonna ride with Asia. And when it comes down to it, you know, not that those two players are the only motivating forces for the team, but in this, in my vibes bracket, I don't gotta say anymore. So I'm going.
That's right, child. My spooky bracket. So, as my counterparts have also said, I do have the Liberty taking the first round. I just think Atlanta, Chicago, Washington, whatever it is, will give a good fight. But the Liberty are literally the top seed for a reason. I think they're going to continue to show that, especially in the first round. I had this asterisk by the Aces because at the time when I created this bracket, Asia Wilson was still hurt. And no shade to the Aces. It's not that I'm saying y'all cannot win without Asia, but playoff Asia is a different type of thing. And I think without her, it also would have been a different type of playoffs. So I do have them defeating the Storm. I think it'll be close. I think it'll go down to the last game of that series, but I do have the Aces taking it. For this side, the Minnesota Lynx. A few episodes ago, you saw that I had them winning the whole thing. They're here as well, but we'll get into that in a second. I have them taking this first round against the Mercury. There's no shade to the Mercury, especially calling the Copper, because girl, you know I love you. But I think with Nafisa, with the players they have also signed for, like Maisha Hines-Allen, I think the way that they're continuing to go on that trajectory of surrounding Nafisa as a team is insane, and I don't see them being stopped in the first round. For the Sun and the Fever, I think I will say the Fever are a wild card that I think could take this. However, I think if the Sun show up in playoff mode, if you've never seen Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, DJ Carrington in playoff mode, I don't see them getting beat by the Fever, but I do see it being close. Again, I think it'll go to the last game of that series. For the semifinals, I have the Liberty versus the Aces. It hurts my heart. I love the Aces, but I just think this time it might be the Liberty. And that's with Asia. It's no shade to them. I just think in the end, it will be close. It will be down to the wire. But I think the Liberty might take that semifinal win. I hate to say it, but it's just what I think. For the Lynx and the Sun, I don't see the Sun stopping the Lynx. No disrespect, no shade to the Sun. I just think when it comes to team dominance, they have it more the Lynx. And I think the Sun, while they have built this great team, I think there's some things coming late as far as their team chemistry that might show against a team like the Lynx. Good teams that are about your level or above your level, they show what you're not doing well as a team. And I think the Lynx will expose the Sun, and then they will take that win. For the finals, I have the Minnesota Lynx. I guessed them earlier when we had the episode with my sister, but I just think, again, the Lynx have been counted out since Maya Moore left, and I think they finally were like, I'm done with this, especially Nafisa. And to be able to lead her team and then also for them to also ride on that train, that momentum, I foresee them running through the Liberty. I don't mean winning all the games, no. But again, in a 5-game series, I see them going to at least game 3 or 4 and taking the win. So I got the Lynx. I think it'll be a beautiful playoffs regardless. That's all I got. Bitch.
All right, y'all. My bracket has a little bit of delusion. It has a lot of heart, though. I'll say Seattle Storm is my team. That's my team, and I'm gonna root for them till the day that I die. So that might have influenced my bracket just a smidge. But getting into it, obviously, the Liberty versus whoever ends up being the 8th seed. The Liberty has just been like a consistent, dominant force. I can't imagine an upset. It would be a miracle from God if the number 8 seed ended up taking any games at all over the Liberty. Now, with the Aces and Storm, the Aces, they're an incredible team. They have an incredible bench. They really know how to play all of their team members. And the Storm, they have a lot of heart. They have some new players that have been shaking up their momentum. They've been getting wins that people didn't expect. And, there was a reason the last Team USA game was a 1-point difference. And that reason is Gabby Williams. And putting her on a team with Joel Lloyd, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Ezzy Nneka, you have magic there. And I think if they've made it this close in the rankings, they can take it at least to the semifinals. Moving on to this side for the Lynx and the Mercury game, nothing is going to beat the momentum of the Lynx. I think they've just been so forward thinking. They've been playing a very long game, very consistent game as well. And, there's a lot of heart on that team, especially led by Nafisa Collier, that I think is going to be really dominant. But I think the Mercury are going to make them fight for it. I think that, if there's a fighting team in this league, it's Phoenix. But I think ultimately the Lynx have just been so consistent, have gelled really well as a team throughout the entire season that they're taking this win. And then for the Sun Fever game, might be controversial. I'm picking the Fever to win this game. If for nothing else, I think the Fever has more of a reason to want it, knowing that it's their first time in the playoffs in years and years. Most of that team hasn't been to the WNBA playoffs, so I think they're gonna have a lot of heart, a lot of fight. And I'm from Philly. You gotta root for the underdog in a city like that. Hopefully the WNBA will give them a team. But for now, I think that spirit will live in the Fever, and Indiana will take it for the first matchup. However, once the Lynx and the Fever get together, the Lynx, they're so well practiced. They're well versed. I think the Fever will give them a bit of a fight, but I think the Lynx is unstoppable. In terms of the heart side of the bracket, the Storm, the Liberty, we just saw one of their games, and the Storm made the Liberty fight. They did. They started off really strong, and the Liberty ultimately took it, which is what I think will happen in the semifinals here. And then leading to the Liberty Lynx showdown for the finals, you got to give it to the Lynx. I just feel their team chemistry is really good. I think they have the endurance, they have the stamina to really take it, and what a fitting way to end the season with, Maya Moore retiring her jersey. They've got somebody to play for, and I think that's a beautiful end to this beautiful WNBA season. And that's all I gotta say.
All right, y'all. So you heard it here first. Here are way too early predictions. If you disagree, put it in the comments. Argue with us in the comments. We'll argue right back. It's spooky season. Anything goes, okay? But that's all we got. We love to see it. We all agree with our picks.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
So and we'll find out who's right. Probably not.
It's gonna be me and Parker. We are correct. Let's go. Let's go. All right. All right, y'all. that's all we have for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in, me and my raspy voice. Again, thank Usher because I thank him for that. Who do y'all think is going to take it home in all of these different brackets that we went through? Do you think we're right? Do you think we're wrong? Leave us a comment. And while you're in our comments, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Click that little notification bell so you can see when we drop our episode. And of course, follow us on all of our socials at Jones and for the Dub on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. See y'all next time. Bye. Team.